All right, so let's talk about. Holy crap! I rarely cover Trump because he's uh, he's just an absolute abysmally stupid person. He's also his family has operated like mafia for years, uh, but legitimated by the equally mafia-esque politicians in New York. Uh, and then there's just about everything he does is a failure. Just about everything he does is wrong. Just about everything he does is hypocrisy, contradiction. I don't like to hash out all of it, because you either you either understand truth or you don't. Um, so, but this just blew my mind. Trump suggesting using ultraviolet rays. When sun tanning is using that, but we've seen the reports and stories about how excessive use of sun tanning can cause melanoma, skin cancer, as well as other cancers. So, uh, and there's a lot of medical science behind that saying no, you shouldn't do that excessively. As a matter of fact, you really shouldn't do that because artificial sun tanning is worse than actually exposing ourselves to natural sunlight and absorbing too much. While sunlight is gives us vitamin C and D and some other stuff. It's we've heard for years now how because of changes that exposing ourselves to too much sunlight is bad for us. So anything we all if you're thinking clearly, you all know that too much of anything that's good is bad. So Trump saying using high doses. Well, that's a just a recipe for basically saying let's kill a whole bunch of people or cause them to have come down with some sort of cancer. That's just mind blowing. And so, but then he goes on to talk about injecting household cleaners. Now, every whether it's Lysol, whether it's Mister Clean, whether it's Clorox bleach, any either name brand or otherwise, there are warning labels clearly saying do not ingest, do not drink, do not consume. Uh, and we've had stories for years about not doing that and how the consequences can have catastrophic effects, including death. So this is a known truth, and I naturally assumed that people actually knew this. So I was absolutely flabbergasted that Trump is suggesting doing this. That injecting people and or drink making people drink. It's mind blowing. Uh, you know, I started thinking when I was watching and hearing about this. I'm like, what's he gonna do? Next thing he's gonna say is he gonna suggest that we drink hydrogen peroxide, which I'm not suggesting you do. You don't want to do that. The warning label says do not do that. One thing you should know about hydrogen peroxide is that it is the most destructive thing that you can possibly do if you drink it, because it actually breaks down on a molecular level. It literally bursts your cells and all other stuff. I rinse with hydrogen peroxide sometimes in my mouth, but the thing is I'm just rinsing. I'm not actually I'm not actually doing more than that. And I accidentally a little bit went down, and that made me start to throw up within like 30 seconds to a minute. And that was just a tiny amount, and it came out foaming. So it looked like I had rabies. So it's not a good idea. I'm also thinking he might say drink iodine. That's almost as bad, if not as bad as hydrogen peroxide. So, and the thing is, it says on both it's topical. Do not, uh, do not, do not drink it or consume it or inject. Do not do any of that. Do not put it in the body, basically. And that's the same thing with the household cleaners. I mean, Trump alarmed the maker of Lysol so much that they put out a rebuttal saying do not do what Trump suggested. I the level of ignorance and insanity is it's just basically insane. Because if you do it, you're basically committing suicide, or you're basically committing yourself to some sort of illness that's going to have detrimental effects. And if there are young children, it'll more than likely cause them to be hospitalized, and that in turn is gonna hit you financially and economically. If you're a grown-up, it's gonna do the same thing, but it's gonna affect young children more because they don't have the body mass, and their immune system hasn't matured, or their biological systems haven't matured. This is just insane, and This is coming from the man who's supposed to be the leader of the country. My feelings of Trump aside, this is just insane. And this is all because of, I think, like the Homeland Security person who was talking about some stuff that Trump. That just it just goes to show you the level of stupidity. When you hear about something like the like hotter temperatures and so on and so forth, you don't you shouldn't you can't automatically take it as a blanket statement and then come up with oh the sun has sunlight has heat, so and it's partly due to infrared and that's just a, and then why not use it? That's just a level of stupidity that just ugh. And then how do you make the connection with topical, and it says topical use? And topical means on the skin or on surfaces. So how do you put that? Is it because you simply only see cleaner and disinfectant? That's a level of colossal stupidity that is dangerous and criminal. Can't fucking. I'm not gonna go any further. That's just. And unfortunately, there are a lot of politicians and a lot of people that are in the corporate and business sector, and those who have who are well off or more than well off, that unfortunately think like this. But not directly like what Trump did, but they have this ideology, test everything, just like that. That's just like that fucking mayor from Las Vegas. She herself wouldn't go into the casinos and expose herself, but hell, everybody else can do a trial testing. That's the sort of thing that Trump and a lot of these people have. That's just megalomaniacal and homicidal thinking. Complete lack of any form of humanity, compassion, empathy, nothing. That's why we have what we have. I mean, Biden is hiring is putting on his team Larry Summers, the same fucking criminal with the same ideology as Trump, as only the more than well off and well off could possibly come, because they have utter contempt because they don't see anybody else as being human, as being this. It's become their go-to thinking. All right, that's all I'm gonna say.